Hey guys, welcome back. Again, I'm Amy.
And I'm Gary.
Gary has an Instagram and a YouTube, and we asked you guys the other day on Instagram if you had any questions that you wanted us to answer together, so we're going to answer some over here. So once you're done watching here, go over to Gary's channel. We're going to talk about a couple of things like pay scale and salary that you might be interested in, so I'll have that linked in the description box down below for you. And what do you want to tell us about your channel and your Instagram? What type of stuff do you do?
So I am currently a second-year respiratory therapy student, and you can follow my medical journey on my Instagram and my YouTube at GarryRT. And we thought
both of them.
on both Instagram and YouTube, it's Gary GarryRT. And we thought it would be fun to meet up and do a little Q&A section together.
Do you want to draw a question?
Yeah, sure. All right. So is it crazy to stay in RT with just an associate's degree? I don't think it's crazy. We are both getting our associates. Well, she has her associates. I'm still getting my associates. There's definitely people out there who are working who are only certified. They're definitely leaning towards getting a bachelor's eventually. Definitely you need an associate's. They no longer do a certification in California or Nevada. Do I think it's crazy? No. If you find a passion to go into the business side of things, if you want to be the head of a department, or teach, you're definitely going to need a bachelor's. Obviously a bachelor's is a good, it's good to have. But yeah, I mean, my grandma was a respiratory therapist. She didn't have her bachelor's. She was a supervisor for many years. So it's definitely possible to move on up and do different things with just an associate's degree. But yeah, what do you think?
No, I agree with that. I don't necessarily think it's necessary right now. There are some states that are pushing towards hiring bachelors over associates, so it's something that you should definitely check on with your state society for respiratory care. They'll be able to tell you if there's a larger push or a larger or a higher likelihood of getting hired with a bachelor's over an associate's degree. So just make sure you do your research wherever you're getting your degree, whatever state you're in, to make sure that you take the right route.
Yeah, because I mean, I have friends who already graduated, and it's not hard to get a job with an associate's. So
no, I agree.
Don't let that keep you back. All right, that was a good first question.
All right, so next question. One thing you wish you knew before RT school? I think there's a ton of stuff. I know that both of us have kind of talked about a little bit, like the things that were helpful or have been helpful for us throughout the program. I think one of the biggest things that I learned, especially now that I've graduated, is even though getting those super high grades were really awesome, I wish I would have been easier on myself, because that's not going to change what type of RT you are in the workplace. You could be awesome and get straight A's, but not do very well clinically, and vice versa. You could not do very well on tests because of test anxiety, or just you're not a great test taker, and then be the best person at clinical. So I think I wish I would have been a little bit easier on myself about the little mistakes, because a lot of us in the medical field tend to be a little bit type A, and that's what people that are a little type A do. We kind of focus on like the tiniest little thing, be like, oh my god, I said this one word wrong and now I'm horrible and no one's gonna like me. So that's really not a big deal. As long as you're getting through your classes, passing them, doing well, and understanding the material, that's the most important part. Because just because you can recite like the nerves in the hand or like something random, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, you definitely have to make sure you know just reasonings behind, because it's no longer a memorization game. It's like you need to know it. You know?
Oh, definitely.
Something I think maybe I wish I knew before was, I don't know, maybe just to relax, kind of. Like you go into it and you're like, oh my gosh, like, but everything, like, they start from the beginning, you know, in every class, like, they really build your knowledge with you. Like, you don't have to know all these things before. And I think some people get a little caught up in how stressful it can be, and like how to prepare for it. But just take it day by day.
I think that's really good, actually, because I was one of those people. I'd be like, is this enough to go forward? Do I need to know more? Like, just trust the process. So they've got it set up like that for a reason.
Exactly. Like, they know what they're doing. So just trust them and trust yourself. Post-grad plans and choices.
Do you want me to start that or you want to start it?
I'll start it because maybe mine's a little shorter since I'm still in school. Post-grad, definitely want to get a job as soon as possible. Working at UCLA, I thoroughly enjoyed it and would love to work there. I'm going to Cedars-Sinai next, which is, they're both in the top 8 of nationally recognized hospitals. And UCLA was 7 and Cedars is 8. So definitely working at one of those two would be great. I haven't started Cedars yet. I don't know how I'll like it. But yeah, they're both close to my house. So.
Even better.
So getting a job as soon as possible at one of the best hospitals, just like everybody else.
Have you thought about doing like any of the extra credentials, like for NICU or for critical care or anything like in the future? Obviously, not immediately.
Yeah, definitely critical care. We haven't touched on any NICU stuff really, besides a few dipping into it in the clinical setting. But so far, I don't want to go that route. But definitely critical care. I don't know, I feel like I'm going to be an ER trauma RT.
Those are the fun places.
Yeah,
Those
so
are the fun places.
we'll see. Maybe eventually down the line, bachelor's. Just to have. What about you?
Well, I'm still deciding where I want to go for my bachelor's still, because I've been thinking about maybe in the future getting my master's, and that's going to kind of...
Master's? She would get her master's. I'm like, associates, I'm fine.
Sorry.
You guys want to be like her.
You need to be like him. You need to relax, enjoy life, chill out.
Okay, I'm the, if I can do it, you can do it. She's the, like, let's be like her.
No, don't let him fool you. So basically that's going to decide where I get my bachelor's from. So I'm just doing a little bit more research on the different schools to see which one will give me the best chance of getting into the school I would like to get my master's from, which is Boise State. They have a really great master's program from what I've seen so far. So that's the plan. And then hopefully in the future, same thing, getting my critical care credential, the ACCS, and then maybe the NPS in the future for neonatal care and neonatal and pediatric care, but we'll see. It's a lot of plans, but it's all kind of in the future, so.
And I think one thing that maybe I didn't know before is you have to continue your education.
You do,
Like,
yeah.
you have to, like, go to seminars and classes or, like, do things online. Like, you have to build your, is it educational?
Your continuing education credits.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
the nice thing about that,
school doesn't end, you guys.
it's true. But there's a nice little trick that someone on Instagram was telling me about the other day, because I'm starting to look into this stuff now.
Yeah, now you need to.
Yeah. Apparently you have about 5 years to get the max number of units that you need for your continuing education.
Okay.
But let's say I were to get my NPS, my neonatal and pediatric
I'm learning
specialty
too.
stuff. Let's say I do that 3 years after I've graduated. That resets your clock.
Oh, okay.
Because you've taken an exam and you've earned a credential. So then you have another 5 years to redo your continuing education unit. So as long as it's something educational, whether it's taking another specialty exam or getting your bachelor's or going to seminars or units, if you get some type of actual like education, like some type of exam, that's enough for the whole 5 years.
Also, like, the hospital you work at, they're going to be posting, like, things for you to
It's
do,
true.
things for you to go to help with this, so don't stress about it. So the lighting was, the sun's going away, we had to...
Had to switch it up for you guys.
Rotate.
Sorry. That was my fault. I was being a drama queen about it. And time for another question. So what keeps you motivated in school?
Definitely, like, when you're in the clinical setting, and even with your professors, like, you just want to be at their level. And so I feel like that really motivates me to, I just, like, want to be smarter, I want to know how to do this and that already. And, I mean, also, you know, getting paid.
That's a good motivator.
You're doing all the schooling of not making money, and, you know, you just want to have a career already.
I for sure agree with that, because when you're a student, you have no money. So even though it's not the reason like you went into it like we were talking about earlier,
Yeah.
it's definitely a good motivator because you're like, oh, all those things I've been wanting to do for the past 2 years, I'll actually be able to do them. I'll be able to do these nice things for my family and friends and myself occasionally.
Yeah, like definitely don't go into the field for the money, but once you're in it, money can definitely be a motivation.
Yeah.
Because obviously, who doesn't want or need money in life, right?
I think even if you think about it, though, a lot of us get a higher education also to better our lives in general and the people's lives around us. So even if you're passionate about the field, you also want something that does make a living that you can survive off of. So either way, it is a small factor, it's just not the main factor. On top of that, another thing that always kept me motivated, again, it kind of goes back to remembering why you're doing this.
Yes.
Because even if you're sitting there thinking, oh, I'd rather be out with my friends, or I'd rather be not studying for 6 hours a day, you have to remember that, you know, you're doing it for a reason, and just keep telling yourself, and it'll really go by much faster than you think. Some weeks are longer than others, for sure.
For sure.
But when you look back at it, you're like, was that really 2 years? Did that fly by like that? Like,
it's like already you're like 3 semesters in, 4 like quarters, whatever you're doing, and yeah, it just flies by. Okay. Advice for a first semester student starting clinicals in 2 weeks. Very exciting. Definitely remember in my program, your first semester in, we also started, I think it was 3 months after, but it was still our first semester. And advice, just be willing. I think a lot of people get caught up in, oh, I don't really know anything yet, and can be really shy and reserved, and you're kind of doing a disservice to yourself, you know. One, you want to show them that you're interested, and they're obviously not going to let you do something that you don't know how to do.
yeah, they're concerned about their patients too, so they're not gonna just be like, oh, go intubate this patient on your first day. It's not gonna happen, don't worry.
Yeah, no, but if they're like, oh, put the mask on them, you know, you don't want to be like, oh, like, you know, it's just a mask. Like, it can be a little intimidating in the beginning, but
you're not gonna hurt anyone, you're just with a mask on. Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully. The band might snap.
Yeah, I've done that on myself when we were practicing before, yes.
Yeah, and also like in your labs, like practice, do all the things because you want to know how it feels.
Not only should you do it, like have one of your classmates, you know, put masks on you and whatever, you should be doing it with all of your classmates. And it might sound weird, but you should make a point to ask classmates that you don't talk to regularly. Like, for example, if you have a huge class,
That's a good idea,
you should get people that you aren't super comfortable with, or not that you're uncomfortable, but you don't know them as well as your friends. And that's going to get you more used to doing stuff with patients that you've never seen them in your life before, other than when you've just walked in the room to do something.
Yeah, I love that tip. I might just use it.
You can be like pulling people from the hallways, hey, you, come here.
Yeah, hey, you. I haven't talked to you all semester.
Oh, I just meant random people from other programs. You're like, come here, I need you. I think that's a big thing though too, because if you show your preceptor that you're willing to learn things, they're going to be really excited to show you things. I've had that happen in the past before, where you can even talk to other people like, hey, if you have something like this, can you let me know? Like, I'm really excited, I really want to see, I don't know, a bronch performed. Can you let me know if you have any? And they'll actually call you and they'll be excited. And whatever. The more eager you are to learn and to participate, the more excited they're going to be to show you things.
And they definitely remember. Like, they're not going to remember somebody who wasn't interested, who didn't ask questions. Like, I know for me, if my preceptor doesn't have anything to do, I'll go to another art team and be like, hey, did you need any help? And, you know, they'll be like, oh my god, yeah, I'm so busy.
Yeah, thank you
do
so
this
much.
For me? Or, you know, or you might see something cool like a bronch.
Yeah, and again, that's also great because one, you're getting more experience, and two, your clinical rotations are like really long job interviews, because more often than not, if you get a job right out of school, it's going to be somewhere you had a clinical rotation at, because they know you, they know what you're capable of, they know your work ethic. So be on your best behavior also.
And be memorable in a good way.
Yeah, definitely in a good way.
There's definitely those people. I don't know how they're doing in clinical.
But I think that was the last question for over here on my channel. Again, head over to Gary's channel. I'll have everything linked down below for you to check out some other questions.
Come see what else we're going to be talking about.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you next time.
Thank you.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Well,
This feels really awkward.
Yeah. Never done a video
I
with
know,
someone.
usually it's just by myself.
Yeah.
As long as I have a head, it's cool. Alright, so...
That's not alcohol.
That's CEU.
I know it's my Instagram.
Yeah, that's what it is. Now we know.
Now I know the name of my YouTube channel.
You're gonna be really mad at me if I say that we should switch
Oh,
the
no.
camera again.
We probably should do something. Should we open?
I knew that was gonna be the first one.